November garden tour. Okay, it is November 3rd. There's a lot going on in the garden still. We've gotten one frost. It was 29 degrees, but just for a little bit. So I still have lots in my garden here. I've got strawberries, snapdragons, chamomile. I've got these peas that I planted. I probably planted these like the first week of September. And it's just a couple of them, just for snacking peas. My zinnias are all still here. They all look really rough and damaged, but I'm letting them dry out like this one. And then they'll eventually turn into this. And at this point, I will go ahead and save the seeds from them. I've got some parsley, some lettuce, some more snapdragons and strawberries. And if we walk over here, I'm just kind of condensing all my stuff. So here's pots that I still need to get into the ground. They're perennials that I saved. Been washing all my pots out, moving all my patio furniture up over here. These are iris rhizomes that I pulled up out of the ground to split, and then I'm going to replant in a new home. This bed right here is all emptied out. It's got some random snapdragons, some gaillardia onions, and back there is a hollyhock. Yes, Mason? My child. What's up? Oh, he's left me. Okay. Right in here, I've got snapdragons back there. These are all herbs: spearmint, peppermint, lemon balm, yarrow. There was a bucket of chamomile back here. These look really pretty. These snapdragons. This is anise hyssop seed. See, and I can just do this, and I'll just like put them inside this bucket, and they'll pop up next year. Those seeds should be good. Chicken coops back here. I got it all kind of cleaned up and mostly ready for winter. I think I am going to add some kind of plastic sheeting right here. That's where I open it up and get eggs out, to cover that up just so no cold gets in through there. It does have vents up on top. We built vents in for ventilation, and but that'll just help a little bit. This is all just my compost pile. My chicken supplies back here. This nasturtium is still going. Isn't she pretty? And I've got these marigolds. These are those monster marigolds. And then these cosmos are new to me this year. A hard time. Oh, that one's pretty. I forget their name. Oh, they're super pretty. And then this bed right here, all the tomatoes and things are out, but this is all carrots. And they are ready to pick at any point. See them down there? I'm just waiting till I have more time. So they can stay in here, even through a frost, they'll be okay. When I have some more time, I'll go ahead and pull those out. Look at this little calendula. Isn't that pretty? Look at the color on that one. That's super pretty. Right in here, I've got some salvia and some zinnias that are going to go to seed for me. This has all just been pulled out. And that's kind of all we got going on over here. So that's the backyard. Down the driveway is pretty much just clean up at this point. I do have some parsley right here that I'm going to pull out and harvest and dry. I still have these cherry tomatoes. They are not dying. And I will get a couple here and there. But they're just not ripening very fast because it's not quite warm enough. But they're not dead. So I'll probably pull those again and get one more batch. This is all dead and done, except these guys. And these guys will all live all winter long in here. What I'll do is I'll take some of these babies out and I'll move them into ones that don't have as many. Like this one doesn't have very many. So I'll thin this guy out and transplant some down there, and they will all be good over winter here. I'll dump these buckets out. I am going to save some of these seeds. I don't know if you can see that really. Oh, I just dropped it. Here, maybe like this you can. See how they got seeds on the end right there? This is a trailing geranium. So I'm going to try and pull this into the house for the winter and save it. And then save seeds and try and grow some more. These guys are all going good still too. These are those they're called seashell cosmos. And they're going good right here. I got a bunch back there. They'll go until the frost too. So the driveway is mainly just clean up. I'll get these leaves out of here and just put them into the bed actually. And then this side will be done. Out front, everything's going really good still. Begonias, looking pretty. Up on the porch, I do have some more of those geraniums. Up here, my impatiens have made like a little bit of a comeback, which is super funny. And then these are all done. These are my cucumbers. There's some big ones down here in the bottom. I'm going to use those for seed, so I'll pull those for seed. I got a clematis right there, which I have to look into how to prune this clematis. You prune, there's 3 different types of clematis, and you prune them all differently. So I'm going to need to look that one up and see what to do there. Over here, this is my honeysuckle, and I was going to do a whole bunch of re-landscaping in here, but I feel it's very likely that it's not going to happen in time for winter this year, just because I have some other things going on. Now, I did redo this area. I think I put a video up on it. I pulled all the tomatoes out, I pulled this all out, and I put my lilies in here. So next year in this ground right here, I'll be all my lilies. I made a bed over here. I've got some snapdragons still going. Back in the back in those pots are calendula and yarrow. And then up front, I've got a coneflower plant and a bunch of coreopsis. Those are all perennial. I'm gonna let those just keep going with all of these little chicken and hens behind them. And we'll see how that looks in the spring. Up back here, I did the same thing. Went through and cleaned everything out. I have got sweet woodruff in here. This plant right here is a wild geranium. And then I've got all of these stone crops. Up in here, I moved these pots in here. They all have things. That's Ava. Hang on, I must go mother. Okay, I've parented. The crisis of the charger. Snapdragons, more of that geranium, some mystery plant, and then a whole bunch of parsley here. So I'll harvest kind of all that out. Everything else back there is perennial. All my daisies and coneflower, Bush's rosebush, which is looking fantastic. And then I got a whole bunch of herbs. Sage, thyme, there's some lavender back there. Well, hello, Gracie. Can you see Gracie? What's going on, baby? What are you doing? The window's not quite open enough for her to get comfortable. I know. It's going to be okay. You'll be okay. All right. I cleaned this all out. And I just got some herbs in here and some lupin. These are just pots right now. I'm thinking about putting those in the ground. This right here is feverfew. Some thyme, some oregano, some sweet alyssum, more of that wild geranium. And then up back here is my new planter that we just built. And I'm just putting all my clippings in it right now. On either side of it, I have one of these potter plants. These I'm going to cut up and bring in the house. They won't make it through the winter. And then back over here, this is where I'm going to put my bean teepee next year. So I just got it empty, sitting right there. Next to this planter, I've got a planter down there that's going to go up to this ladder up here. And I'm going to do hyacinth beans on there next year. Down under here, there's just some alyssum. There's some basil that quite hasn't died yet. All these volunteer snapdragons. Don't they look gorgeous? They're so pretty. They're just a whole bunch of random seeds that I dumped in there and that came back. So pretty. And there's some more over there along with some zinnias that I'm letting go. Back behind there, again, it's just some pots of zinnias and some old beans. I cut the fence back. It's always so sad, but I left the salvia. Because isn't the salvia just super pretty? Hi, pretty girl. The bees really like it. I like to leave things up for the bees as long as I can. Down this wall here, I just left any zinnias that hadn't died. And as they die, I'll come through and I'll cut this head off. I'm just cutting the heads off. But look at this. Like, even though it's November, I still have new blooms trying to come on these zinnias. Here's another one right there. Yeah, it's fantastic. Also, I have squash left. Not that I think I want any squash because we've had so much squash. But I've got 1, 2 there. And then I think there's probably some back here still. Oh, nope. I gave those away to Lori. I forgot. This is something that I don't know. That's a K present. I'll have to figure it out. Okay, the garden over here is pretty much put to bed. I have some nasturtium plants in here. And I'm just pulling those one a day and feeding them to the chickens right now because they will die as soon as the harvest comes. I've got some calendula up here. These are just some decorative onions I transplanted. And then this bunch in the middle, and over there. These are all just zinnias that are finishing out their days here. Now I do have beets planted here. These will take a frost. This is pretty much one of the last crops. These and those carrots. But they're doing pretty good. I don't know if you can see really too much. Hang on. They're starting to bulb up pretty good. So I'm going to have those in here. I'll probably come out and harvest all these calendula one more time. Just because they're looking really nice. And why not? And then the only other thing I'm going to have in the garden... Oh, I lied. I got this plant. This is a perennial plant called Osteospermum. It's so pretty. I've never had it before. It's making more bulbs or more flowers. We'll see how it goes. But I'm going to try and overwinter it here. But this whole area right here, I'm going to come out probably tonight, maybe tomorrow. And this is where I'm going to plant my garlic. So I put all these leaves. These leaves are shredded. If you put just regular leaves on, they'll form a mat when they get wet. It won't be as beneficial. But what we did is we took the lawnmower and mowed all the leaves after they were dry. And then I put them on. So I'm going to come in. I'm going to plant my garlic in here. And then I'm going to cover them back up with all this leaf mulch. And then I'll have my garlic ready to harvest in about July right here. And what I usually do is I'll plant them kind of in rows kind of far apart. And then like I'll put my watermelon plants or some kind of big vining plant in with them. And then in July, by the time I pull those garlic up, then those squash and stuff are going to need more room and they'll just take over that space. And it usually works pretty good. All right, so that's it. November garden walk. I mean, I don't think I've ever filmed flowers in November. I think it's fantastic. Don't expect this to happen for December. This is Michigan after all.